Welcome back. I hope you all are doing well. We are learning observation method in evaluation assessment process. In the previous video, we talked about how to document an observation, and we started with formal documentation methods such as event recording, duration recording, time sampling. Now, these are the methods which are more informal in nature for documenting an observation. But let's talk about another method which we call it informal documentation, and we call it anecdotal records. So what is anecdotal records? As it is an informal documentation of any observation, so there is no specific structure. You simply observe, and whatever you notice, you write in a kind of a brief descriptive narrative of what you observed. So it's a brief descriptive narrative of what did you see, what did you observe in the behaviors, and it generally occurs after the behavior has happened, or so after the behavior has occurred, and then you write a brief descriptive narrative of your observation. Sometimes in that narrative anecdote you can write like direct phrases being used by the participant you are observing. You can use direct quote or phrases that which is being used. So informal documentation is also very commonly used in documenting a behavior and observation, and to do that, it's simply you are, let's say if I'm observing a child, I'm simply just writing a narrative of what did I see by using some of the phrases if I'm interacting with the child. So basically it's a very brief and descriptive narrative of what an observer observed. So that's an informal method of anecdotal record. So these are the four methods which are being used. Another method that we can I already talked about it a little bit, which is called it self-monitoring. So in self-monitoring, the client themselves monitor and record the observation. So if I'm it mostly used in CBD approach, where you tell the client to observe certain behaviors in themselves. They have a log, they fill out the log, and when they come for the next meeting or session, they share with the counselor, and the counselor use that data in their determining their intervention and monitoring a behavior, whether the behavior is minimizing or increasing, and all those things they use that data for. So self-monitoring is also a powerful method which is used in observing, documenting observation. And as the word itself says, self-monitoring, which means that it is done by the client themselves or the child themselves, monitor their own behavior. So as a counselor, you teach them, you prepare them how to do self-monitoring. And it's hard sometimes if you're not aware. For instance, if I'm doing my own anger, assessment, self-monitoring, sometimes you are in the heat of the moment, you don't feel like, oh, I need to observe myself, I need to record it. Maybe later oh my God, I just felt anger, I didn't notice that. But so so what I'm saying is you have to prepare your participant or your client to do that. So it requires a certain level of awareness and training so that they could do self-monitoring. Now in observation documentation, there are other tools or other tool which are very commonly used and very popular. So let's talk about that do. And that tool is called rating scale. Rating scales are very popular, I would say, in observation documentation. And in rating scale, what you do is you document, it could be frequency of a behavior and also quality of the behavior. So you describe the quality of the behavior, and also it could be frequency of a behavior, and that's how you evaluate and observe a behavior. And who fills that rating scale? So it could be filled by the counselor, client, parents, it could be anyone like stakeholders. And sometimes the scales are developed for a specific stakeholder. So some scales should be filled by the counselor. Some scales are developed to be filled by, let's say, parents. Some scales are developed to be filled by the child or adolescent. So, and some scales are developed, they have like a universal nature where the same scale can be filled by multiple stakeholders. It could be counselor, client, caregivers. So these are the people who fill a rating scale. And I'm sure you all have seen certain rating scales. You may have filled it already in some context. So a popular rating scale that we often see in survey research or any kind of behavioral documentation, and we call it Likert scale. A Likert scale is called Likert because it was developed by a person whose name is Likert. So on his name it's become like a Likert scale. And this rating scale document a behavior, whatever you observe, and on a scale of it like 1 to 4 or 1 to 6, 7, 5 sometimes. So you may have a 5-point Likert scale, you may have a 4-point Likert scale, you may have a 6-point Likert scale, 7-point Likert scale. And these Likert scale, they start from the common responses like strongly agree to strongly disagree. And then if you have a, let's say, 5-point Likert scale, so 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So that's strongly, and the responses are not like this. They are basically written like in words. So you have strongly agree, the second response is agree, don't know, or neither agree nor disagree. And then you have disagree. So you have this 5-point Likert scale: strongly agree, agree, don't know, disagree, and strongly disagree. So you see these are 5-point Likert scale. So 5-point Likert scale is very, very common. It's commonly used to document observation. So let's say a parent is filling a rating scale with 5-point Likert scale where they can say just an observation like my child goes to bed every day before 9. So the response could be yes, strongly agree, strictly, or whatever. So basically what is happening is you describe a behavior and then the participant they fill it with either strongly agree, disagree, or whatever the response is. So Likert scale is used to record an observation of your client. And as I said, it can be filled by anybody. If I'm doing a behavior observation of a child, I can ask teachers, and the teachers, since they are observing the child more in their classes, they can fill this Likert scale for me, helping me understand the child behavior more deeply. So that's the Likert scale, very commonly used in our day-to-day practice to observe behaviors. The other one is, we call it graphical scale. What is graphical scale? It's similar to Likert scale, but it has like a graphic to it, so that it's very easy for anyone to respond. So you have like this, let's say 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and then you have these, what you say, this is graphical representation here where the people respond 5, 4. So it's a graphical scale. It's a variation of the same Likert scale, where people, it has a little bit more graphic to it. So it becomes easy for younger children to respond to the graphical scale. Sometime you may have a graphical scale like with the young children, which is like, how are you feeling today? So the scale could be like this, like a smiley, like a neutral, and then like a sad. So you see, this is a graphical scale with the younger children, since their language capabilities are not developed enough. So these scales are more useful for them. Finally, another scale which is commonly used is, we call it semantic differential scale. Semantic differential scale. So what this scale is about? In semantic differential scale, what you have like a bipolar adjectives. So that is one thing to keep in mind, bipolar adjectives. So let's see how it might look like. So it has two adjectives on a bipolar, meaning that one is like on one spectrum, and the other is just the opposite of what that adjective represents. So let's see an example here. So if I write anxious, and on the other spectrum it is calm. Okay, so these are bipolar adjectives, anxious, calm. And then I put a line here, and then I put 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Okay, and now I ask participant to put a cross on wherever they feel they are. So on the one spectrum you have anxious, feeling anxious, and feeling calm, and the person might put a cross here. So this is another type of scale. We call it semantic differential scale. So let's summarize it now. Along with using these formal documentation methods, there are other methods and other tools that we use. We call it rating scales. So rating scales are also common method of documenting observation. And as you saw, there are different variations of rating scales, Likert scale, semantic scale, differential scales. These scales are graphical scale, which are commonly used in our recording of an observation, documenting an observation. Now, these rating scales have certain limitations. In our next video, we are going to discuss about what are the limitations of these rating scales so that you can use it effectively. Thank you. I'll see you in another video.